Hello everybody, this is Hamma here from the Araxis Global Network and PlanetSide-Universe.com for another AGN Instant Action. So I wanted to put together a video with some of my main concerns about PlanetSide 2 and kind of the November 20th release date, as it is right now. While I'm talking here, I'll go ahead and just play some random gameplay for you guys, and just so you know, Jenny Boo actually recorded some as well, and the ones where I'm dying, or the ones where the character's dying, that's me. The ones where the character's owning, yeah, that's her. So anyway, I just want to talk a little bit about myself and why I'm kind of saying some things right now. Now, I typically stay pretty quiet on my concerns about the game. I do voice them. I don't necessarily voice them in the community. I realize that in the position that I'm in, I can tend to influence some things, and so I usually stay pretty quiet on them. But there are a couple things that really concern me right now that I'm kind of worried about, and I want to make sure it's known out there that these things are really needed to make PlanetSide 2 kind of the big game that we all want it to be as fans, and that I want it to be as a fan-side operator. So there are a lot of things that I'm concerned about, and many of them a lot of people in the community are concerned about and have been touched on ad nauseum on the forums, not to mention in some recent videos. So I'm not going to touch on a lot of the things that are kind of, you know, really hot button issues out there in the forums. So I just want to prefix my concerns with the fact that this is not going to be PlanetSide 1. Anybody out there that's hoping that this game is going to be PlanetSide 1 in a new engine is going to be thoroughly disappointed. PlanetSide 1 was not an overall success, and so we're not going to really see the exact same game repeated in a new engine. It just wouldn't make any sense. They're not going to make a lot of money off that, and frankly, I don't want to see that either. Because let's be honest with each other, as fans, PlanetSide 1 was a great game, but it had some massive flaws. The FPS mechanics in it were horrible, and just, you know, the overall feel of the game wasn't really that great. It was an amazing game at the time, and we all had a blast playing it, but we're not going to see that game repeated, you know, piece by piece in PlanetSide 2. So on to my top concerns. I'll probably do a few more of these videos just depending on, you know, what happens over the next few weeks, but I want to talk about one of the big ones right now that I think is a huge issue, and that is the new player experience. You don't have to look very far to find some videos of folks who quit the game very quickly, and just because they couldn't figure out what to do, where to go, and things like that. We've heard a lot about the mission system in the past, but recently that's just kind of disappeared. And I asked some questions about it while I was out at SOE Live, and we got some answers, but overall, the system as it is right now, with being able to throw down stuff on the map, and kind of ping the map a little bit, not going to work overall. For new players to be able to understand what's going on and how to play, they need to be able to log in and see a list, be presented with a list of missions, of things to do. If they're presented with a list of things to do and where to go, or even to be instant action there, I believe that that will make a huge difference in the new player experience, because PlanetSide 1 was a very niche game. People who are getting into PlanetSide 2 for the very first time are going to have the same problem. There's a lot going on, and people are used to just jumping in and playing kind of a single-player map where they just run around and shoot at whatever. And PlanetSide 2 is not that. So at SOE Live, they actually talked about dropping new players in on a hotspot when they first come into the game, and so they'll see a huge PlanetSide fight, and they won't have trouble finding it. This only goes so far, however, because after the first time, they're just going to be confused about where they're spawning now and where to go. There has to be a lot more interaction involved and a lot more explanation on not only the spawn screen, but the mission system. We need to be able to have a list of missions that they can look at, accept, obtain, and be able to go on from there with set objectives that they know where to go. After a while, they'll become experienced, and they'll be setting their own missions, and they'll be doing things like that. But until then, unfortunately, they're going to be very confused, and the new player experience right now is just not enough. Videos only go so far in explaining stuff. Unfortunately, tutorial videos and stuff like that, people aren't really going to go seek those out and watch them. Some people will, if they really want to know about the game. But if SOE just releases a bunch of training videos, that's not really going to help things either. There has to be a method within the game to direct people where to go so that they can understand how to play. And then they will become PlanetSide veterans just like we all are. But until then, they're just going to be mindless running around and not sure what to do. Many of them will quit without even giving the game an hour or so. So that covers really my main concern right now with PlanetSide 2. I believe there needs to be a mission system and a real solid new player experience before the game even launches on November 20th. I don't know if that's going to happen. It doesn't look likely that it will. But I do believe that if it does not happen, we're going to run into the same problems as we did with PlanetSide 1, and people are just going to quit, and they're not going to give it a chance. And we all know that this game has the potential to be amazing. There's a lot of cool stuff coming. We've got some metagame stuff coming like that, and I want people to be able to stick around and play the game and enjoy it. On to my next thing, which is going to be kind of a quick thing, and I'm sure the devs are aware of it, but it's something that also needs to be addressed quite a bit. There are far too many spawn points on the map right now with the Sunder in addition to the outposts and things like that. When you're defending a base, it is nearly impossible to get the enemy out of it. There are just so many Sunders deployed all over the place that fights and battles just go on forever. There's no way to effectively remove them, and Sunders can just be deployed next to each other. I mean, you could have 5 Sunders deployed next to each other, like literally within feet of each other. PlanetSide 1 had this figured out. They had a system in place where you couldn't deploy an AMS close to another one. This prevented AMSs from just being spawned and deployed, all over the map. And, if that isn't changed now, we're going to have a situation where battles never end. You'll never be able to get the enemy out of a place. There'll never be a sense of finality to capturing a base or an outpost because there's always going to be people spawning like crazy. So that about covers kind of the major things that I'm concerned about with PlanetSide 2 right now. Like I said, there are many more, but these are the ones that, for me, are at the forefront of my mind that I really want to make sure that the devs get in place as quickly as possible, because I really think that these things are going to affect the game in the long term, and I really want this game to be a success. I want to be playing this 5 years from now. I don't want them to release and then people quit because they don't know how to play and they don't bother giving it a chance. I will admit that I do have concerns about a release date of November 20th. I do believe that that is pretty quick. It's just a little over the 3 weeks away right now, and there's a lot to be done in 3 weeks. This is an MMO. It's never done, and I do understand that. So that about concludes this episode of AGN Instant Action. Thank you guys for taking almost 10 minutes out of your day to listen to what I have to say about the game, and hopefully we do see these things come into place, and I'm sure we'll be doing more of these videos over the next couple weeks depending on what we see. We do look forward to the metagame changes, and I do think those will have a huge impact on the way the game is played, and I do think that they are a move for the better. So here's to the next few weeks and ending out beta and moving into release. This is Hamma for the Araxis Global Network and PlanetSide-Universe.com. You guys have a good one.